When the pilots of the Pakistan Air Force took to the field, in fact, soared into the skies, their situation was exactly like this. And why did they rise into the skies? Because there were nearly 3 times as many enemy aircraft, around 390 planes. And if you add one more, it becomes 400. When those same planes took off, the Pakistan Air Force only sent up 29 aircraft in response. So Pakistani pilots are trained with the mindset that, son, you are not going to face just one enemy plane. In the air, you will be up against at least 3 enemy aircraft at a time. So their training is made that much harder because we have limited resources. We have to admit that our economy is small and we have limited resources. Yeah, so whatever is allocated after tightening our belts is spent with greater responsibility. That's why the pilots are trained in such a way that a single aircraft should consider itself up against 3 at a time. Oh. In other words, a pilot's training is such that he can engage 3 enemy aircraft at once. Now, as I'm talking about the night between the 7th and 8th, I'm not going to talk about a tour of Delhi. You need to stay with me here. On the night between the 7th and 8th, when they took to the skies, it was clear in everyone's mind that they had to set targets 3 times greater than themselves. And setting these targets doesn't mean you just quietly lock onto them and sit back. The pilot sitting in the cockpit, inside that big glass canopy, can see the enemy aircraft's pilot displayed right in front of him. Things appear on the screens and a message is sent to him, something like, Mama, now you've been locked on. That means you've been targeted. Now you can't move left or right. Okay? You're in our sights. Just imagine if we shared a border with Germany like how Germany and Japan once shared a border. If we had a border with Germany or Japan, then the world would really hear us roar. Now it's only the Indian border. Eh? So we say to them, no, you're in our sights. That ignorant kid had said it, which is why he's stuck inside Darala. You're in our sights, and now you can't move left or right. This means you've locked onto them. All right. So the boys were eager for an opportunity to teach them a lesson. They'd been itching for a fight for days. As soon as they took to the skies, it became a race to see who could lock on the most targets. That same boy who got the first kill from the skies above Lahore fired a missile and shot down the first Rafale. The second Rafale was shot down in the Bahawalpur sector, or you could say within its range. And there, a young woman, at a time, you could say, locked onto about 7 targets. But out of those 7, none were Rafales. I was told they were all Su-30s. The young woman's name is Fatima, our own Flight Lieutenant Fatima. I am sharing her name with you today, with special permission. All right? And she locked onto the Su-30s. There were 33 of them present in the air at that time, this within range. Yes, Su-30s. And out of those, 11, yes, 11, not 7. 7 were locked by the one in Lahore. Yes, 11. This young woman locked onto 11 of them. And at that time, she was flying the JF Thunder, not the J385. No. She was on the JF Thunder. She was absolutely fearless, and she did an incredible job. She didn't let those 11 take off. They were just flying ducks, you could say. We could have shot them down whenever we wanted. But we didn't want to embarrass Russia too much. We really wanted to embarrass France, especially by shooting down a Rafale. And that was particularly the focus of the younger pilots. And as I said, this was good information, and it has now been shared with you. Look, this war of Pakistan has changed the standards and parameters for any future war in the world. And when I say war, I mean both ground and aerial warfare. From now on, any Air Force will teach its pilots and planners how the Pakistan Air Force planned and launched its aircraft into the skies that day. Son, Do it like this. All right? It's so interesting that you'll forget Charlie Chaplin's movies, the way the Indian Air Force, the Indian Army, and their leadership were behaving, you'd forget all about Charlie Chaplin's films. And the funny thing is, I've actually been told not to share certain things, not to say this, not to say that. But just for your update, when I read those updates, I'm left speechless thinking, what kind of training have they been doing? Since 2012, the Pakistani Air Force has been training on the same patterns as the Indian Air Force. And during this time, there was also the February EU 2019 encounter in which Pakistan clearly demonstrated its superiority over them. Just try to understand the whole affair. Now, during this period, there have also been one or two air exercises in which personnel from both the Pakistani and Indian armed forces participated. Some of our Arab countries are quite keen on conducting exercises with India, so the Pakistani Air Force was also present there. There too, this opportunity arose. Well, Russia also conducts such exercises, and so does America. We participate in them, and so does India. In these different groups or squadrons are formed and made to compete against each other, although it is a virtual competition. There is also an umpire or referee present who tells you how many points you have lost, whether you have been locked or what has happened to you. He keeps informing you and recording it as well. There are also virtual wars there, meaning an environment similar to video games is created, and competitions are held in that setting too. And once you have interacted with your rival in the virtual environment, you should take note of what advantages they have, and you need to overcome those advantages and be able to compete with them. You are fortunate. Your opponents are completely incompetent, thoroughly incompetent, in fact, and on top of that, they're also dim-witted. And then day and night, their movies have hammered a fake sense of pride and arrogance into their minds, leaving absolutely no room for improvement. So, let them remain happy in their ignorance. Let's celebrate. Celebrate your victory. That's all for now. I will be at your service again in the next blog. May Allah, the Blessed and Exalted, grant you ease, continue to grant you success in this way, and give you the ability to share these blessings with the rest of His creation.